Stop playing with them. Okay, the Haitian flag represents. Stop playing with them. Okay.
Allô, bonsoir. What's up? Allô, bonsoir. What's up?
Stop.
Allô, bonsoir.
With them.
What's up? Allô, bonsoir. What's up? Comme un nouillet, 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 comme un nouillet.
What's up, everybody? This is your boy Free Mighty the Cypher. Right here we have Henry, aka Henry Gunn, right?
Yeah, Gunn. Yeah.
Gunn. So, damn, this is hard.
So, what up? How everybody doing? First time, but hey, we rolling with the
First episode. So the purpose of this podcast is to bring artists, poets, writers, actors, anybody in that field, and business owners to come on board to see, we have a friendly conversation to see how their life is, what's their motivations, what inspired them to create what they create, and what route are they trying to go within their life. So right here, I have my boy Henry Gunn. All right, how was your day? How would you describe your day as?
It was good, Got up, made some breakfast, oatmeal, and eggs, and some coffee, and then headed out to the gym where we're at right now. Met you afterwards, got my little workout in, much needed. Gym to me is like therapy. Help me work out whatever's going on in my mind and my emotions to help, get myself aligned with myself, mind, body, and soul. So yeah.
Okay. How long you been working out?
When I really got into it was like when I was 27. Yeah, I'm 42 right now. So yeah, when I was 27, and I really got into it back then. I started out with like calisthenics, pretty much because it just felt natural, and really getting into it with my body. I really fell in love with calisthenics that way, and I always watched them on YouTube. It was this guy called Hannibal for King. And he was up in New York, and he was doing some amazing things on the bar, you know what I mean, and all that. So, yeah, and I kind of aspired to get like that. And I was doing some things that I can't do right now because I kind of left the calisthenics alone. But I just got into like riding bike and running, and just still a little light calisthenics. And right now I'm like into the gym and lifting weights, just free weights and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I used to watch those videos when I was younger. I was really inspired by them. The type of stuff they used to do was crazy. I was always fascinated with gymnastics.
Yeah.
So when I used to see those type of videos, like gymnastic, like parkour, things like that. It's like superhuman. It's like when I used to watch them, they had superpowers and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. Cause Buddy was doing some crazy shit, and he kind of inspired a lot of other people. Cats in Russia started coming out with videos, and he inspired guys like bar stars and bartenders and all these other guys that would do the calisthenics, jump on the calisthenics game like that. But it's dope.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I gotta go back to the gym. Gotta get back.
Hey man, the gym is cool, man. You can even do stuff at home or at the park. You know what I mean? Just go out for a walk, do a little something.
I gotta be disciplined. I gotta go back to being in my discipline mode. So, that's actually what I'm trying to add on to my schedule. I'm trying to have a set schedule.
It makes you feel good,
Yeah.
It's not just about like your physique. It's about just how you feel mentally. It kind of helps
for sure
your mental state too.
Yeah. Teach discipline for sure.
Yeah.
My next question I wanted to ask you: somebody was to meet you right now, what energy would they say you have? Like, what type of energy you give?
Energy, genuine energy. That's what I try to give off all the time. Good energy, uplifting, Yeah, that's what I try to do. I try to inspire people, try to uplift people.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, I don't know, it just feels good to everybody. It feels good, you know what I mean? So I try to bring people down,
Sure.
And just keep people, in a good state of mind, in a good space. So that way, the world is always in a good spot, in a good space, So you do that by helping uplifting everybody else. Everybody should be in a good mind state, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. So yeah.
What's up? I like that. How would you describe yourself without mentioning what you do?
Me?
Mm.
Shoot, I don't know, man. It's weird because like,
Yeah,
um,
don't really get access to that question, so.
nah, well, I never look at myself. I am who I am, and it's like I had a friend who had like that I be talking to, and somebody on Instagram started following me, and you know, I followed them back because they had like a T-shirt company or whatever. And then she was like, "Yeah, my she ends up. I didn't know who she was, and she was like, that was the sister of the friend that that I got, or whatever. And she was like, "Yeah, my she told me you're a real nice person." And I was like, "Okay, well." You know, and then I go back to my friend. I was, oh, I heard you've been, you know, heard you've been saying nice things about me, just like, you know, like whatever, and then just joking around. And she was like, "Well, am I wrong?" I'm like, "Well, no. I mean, I am who I am, and I just trying to live my life where I got a free conscience, like, you know, there's nothing weighing on my conscience, and um, you know, I just try to do right, you know,
Yeah.
and that's it. So, you know, I'm somebody who tries to keep it real with myself and with others, you know." And that's pretty much it. Yeah. So, I don't know, somebody who likes kind of ambitious, you know what I mean? I like doing my own thing. That's why I've been self-employed for a while. You know, sometimes that's to your own detriment, I guess, because you're struggling a lot, you know what I mean? You know how that can be, you know, you're behind on stuff and things like that, but it's like you just can't be controlled, and like working a 9 to 5 just doesn't seem like um, it aligns with you, you know, inside, you know, because you know, I've always been like, you know, a hustler kind of.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel you. That trust me, I know.
so nothing against it,
hustle
you know what I mean?
mindset. Yeah.
Nothing against anybody got 9 to 5, nothing
Yeah.
like that. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. But if you have an opportunity to get yours, you know, go get it. You know, don't let nothing tie you down. You know.
And also, a business is not for everybody too. So
That
that's
too.
the thing.
You know what I mean?
Take a strong mind.
Yeah. You know, yeah. You know.
You gotta be willing to go through the struggles.
Exactly. Some people can't. They, you know, I don't want to say fold, but you know, 'cause it makes it seem negative. But some people end up not pushing through when like you could have had it. You know, if you just would have held on a little longer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Consistent and persistent.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Okay. I don't know if you might be able to answer this question, but what environment or experience shape how you move through the world? Like it could be in the past, you know, present.
The things I've been through, my family and friends, situations, you know, my family, my father, uncles, um, help me see things a certain way, you know. I've been through things like got in trouble, you know, have friends like turn their back on me and things like that. You know, through in high school, even after that, close friends, family, also, you know what I mean. And you know, they just kind of like you start seeing people for who they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you kind of know how to put that in this place. You know, so um, it just I don't know, just life in general, and I kind of try to look at things through different perspectives also. And I try not to be too bitter. Try not to be bitter on certain things, even though it could get to you, and you could have that mentality, man, fuck everybody. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you don't want to walk around with that mentality because that's just gonna bring you down and cause chaos. You know?
Yeah.
So just try to let people be who they are, and you know, you move how you gonna move, and don't let that affect you. You know, which is hard because things weigh on you because it's like people misinterpret you who you are and shit like that. So then that kind of affects you in your day, you know. But then you just gotta be like, hey, that's on them, you know. Whatever insecurities they got going on within themselves, you can't take that on, you know, because that's what they're battling their own demons. You know what I mean? I'm trying to just worry about myself. You know what I mean? How I come across and how I move in the world. You know, just try to stay true to me, and you know how I see things. You know, but I've seen a lot of a lot of different experiences helped shape me. Being locked up, never been in prison, but just going through jail, probation, and just reflecting back on my actions. Near-death experiences and things like that just helped me, like, I don't know, get to know myself, and then also know other people and then where they come from. So I can really see where people, um, you can kind of read people,
Yeah.
a certain way, and that kind of like you can see the bullshit coming from a mile away because
Yeah.
you done dealt with people that been bullshitting people for the, you know what I mean? That's how they move.
Yeah.
So you already can see that shit, and then you can see how people, what drives certain people, you know what I mean? What motivations and what you can see the demons that they're battling inside and what insecurities they hold inside, because you done dealt with a lot of shit, within yourself too, overcoming your own shit. You can see how other people still trying to overcome their own shit because you done battled your own demons, in the dark, and then that kind of helps you see what other people are battling.
Yeah.
You know, like
Like that. Life be life.
yeah, so life be life, and
Life be life. Okay, let's see. Okay, how has the version of you changed? So like
right now,
yeah, you compare it to maybe you can compare your present to your past. Like,
yeah, like in the past I didn't know myself too well,
Mm.
like connecting with my emotions or how to express myself. So I would turn to different things, you know what I mean? Either alcohol or drugs or whatever, like smoking a lot of weed. I just had to cut that off because I was going through some shit. And I was really relying on Mary Jane too much. Like she was digging in my pockets heavy, and I was like, yo, I gotta let that go because it's also affecting my health too. Yeah, that's been my bitch for a minute, I've been rocking with her for my whole life. So I had to like step back from that to really get to know myself because like you always got these crutches that you lean on, and had to start really leaning on some other things to really get to know myself. And right now, like I was rediscovering myself. Like I said, like when I was 27, I was discovering myself, or really getting my own foothold, because I had a lot of shit that was still, what do you call it? That wasn't mine. Like, and I just took on, from other people and things like that. The environment, the people I was around, the mindset and everything. So I had to step back and reflect on my own internal self and see what fits with how the outlook that I want to have in life, or who I really am, and I'm afraid to show, because you kind of get put in a mold by the certain people, and just by your actions and shit. Certain people place you there, and you kind of get stuck there because that's their expectation of you, and you kind of break that expectation. Trying to break it is hard because
yeah,
you want to be a certain way, but people look at you a certain way. You know what I mean? So so now I feel like I'm really know who I am, and I'm really 10 toes down in myself and how I move. And I don't let nobody put me in a box, and nobody label me anything.
yeah.
You know what I mean? A certain way. I'm just trying to stay true to me and who I be. So I feel very strong in who I am right now.
So yeah,
And where
you
I'm
found
going.
yourself.
Yeah. And all of that was through the poetry, helped really get my voice,
So
out there. And going to school, when I was going to school in my late 20s and early 30s, because that was something that helped me gain confidence in the fact that I can do more than just, selling weed or hustling and stuff like that. Like, or even like, because I never had I was always detailing cars, like working at my dad's body shop from like when I was 19. I only had two jobs, which was Universal Studios and Serves Merchandise, which is a retail store. And I never saw myself doing anything else. Like I thought like working with computers was something hard, you know what I mean? Like learning how to program and stuff. And so I went to school for network engineering, and I was, I took a class in introduction to electrical engineering that I had to take. It was like a prerequisite or whatever for the AS or whatever degree I was going for. And that helped me gain some confidence in myself because I could understand certain things, which I thought, I don't know, like I wasn't capable of. And then I, took a boot camp for programming. At first in Valencia, that's where I was going, Valencia Community College. Now it's Valencia College.
Yeah.
I was going for the network engineering. We had to take a class in like introduction to programming or whatever, web development. And that I kind of like that problem solving that web development was, that coding. Yeah. And then I took a boot camp for, web development. And I saw, I understood it,
Yeah.
and that helped me gain confidence because I started working on my own little projects, So, yeah, I don't even know what the fuck the question was. I just started.
No, you good. I mean, I'll say with that, because I have the same, I guess the same skill, is you're a critical thinker.
Yeah.
So you tend to want to create stuff and put stuff into line and order things around, and trying to create. It's pretty much an art.
Yeah, that's what it was. Because the programming was like an art form for me. Like the network engineering was too like abstract. Cause you kind of like that was, I don't know. It was like I had to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the web development was good because I can see it, the changes on the screen.
Yeah.
I could just change the code and upload it, and bam, I can see it right there.
Yeah.
And then I can also, those different things you can use where you can just, as you working on it, you can see the changes. So it was like dope, just you creating right there. You know what I mean? So yeah.
That's how I feel about business too.
Yeah.
It's like, anything that's I could think about and see how it's gonna, from step one all the way to what it could really become, and you go through the journey of like hitting the targets of everything that you already predicted.
Mm-hmm.
You could see it. You're living through it. It's like a superpower. Like,
yeah,
kind of like predicting the future. You see you foreshadow the future, and you're just going through life and just check mark. So anything I could create and literally see it come to life, that's art.
Yeah, that's like, people think art is just music or
art
poetry. Life is art. Like the art is everywhere. It's how you just got to see it that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I always used to think like at work, and you can tell who somebody is by the way they work. It shows in their work.
Yeah.
And I can really see it. Like when I was at my dad's body shop and I was working with my cousin, I can see, like, you can tell the differences in the type of, in the outcome of the job. So you can see how somebody's work ethic speaks a lot of who they are, and it's just they're channeling themselves through work. So you can see, you know what I mean?
For sure. Definitely can.
Like, this guy doesn't care too much. He's just in it just to get the job done and make the money quick. Versus the other guy who cares about the quality, and you can see he takes the time to make sure it's right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he values that because that is an expression of himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some
There's
people
a lot of characters. But I mean, the thing about it, when you study people, you tend to kind of know how to move, how to speak to people and things like that. So when you get a lot of different characters come together, you know how to connect people together. And like you study people's personality. Okay, this personality will go well with this personality, and this and that. So it's like, that's how you call it. That's why when it comes to like managing, you have to really be good at that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much in life, to be honest.
Yeah.
We all come in all shape and forms. So
yeah, you got to separate the emotions from things, and some people don't know how to do that, and they manage out of ego.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Become dictators. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, this is the way I said to do it, so you got to do it that way.
Yeah.
He's like, bro, that person might not even fit that mold you trying to put him in. You know,
you got to understand you got to understand their pros and cons and their weaknesses and all that stuff. So yeah. Okay, what are you building or working towards right now? It could be business, personal, art.
I mean,
like, actually, what would you say your goal is?
Still working on myself, because you can never finish working on yourself.
Yeah.
You can never say, yeah, I figured everything out, because like you said, life be life, and every day is a new challenge. So just I'm working right now to be a better version of myself, cementing more in who I am, and moving more. I'm confident in who I am, but just be able to move more in a structured way with who I am now, and then also working on my business, which I detail cars also. So growing that to where it can sustain me better, you know,
Mhm.
and working in my plans to help the youth and help kids that are coming up. I got ideas for that in the future. I've been brainstorming. I got a pretty good thing going on. Well, plans set already, and just working to help put it in fruition.
Yeah.
Through poetry and through stuff, hip hop and things like that, just to help kids find themselves and know who they are, and help themselves move through life. The different age groups, starting from like 8 to like 20. You know, so they can help themselves. So they can help find themselves and be move confident in the world.
Yeah.
And have good expression, be able to express themselves and know how to communicate. Know how to express their emotions and everything. So yeah.
Okay. I know you say you do your detailer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How long you been doing it?
Since on my own, since 2009.
Hmm.
I started working at my dad's body shop in like 2002. When I was 19, 2001, I think. It was like around there, yeah. So yeah, I've been doing. Yeah, I started working at my dad's shop, trying to learn body work and painting, but I was learning under my dad, and we were always butt heads. We couldn't get along. So he's like, "Yo, just go work with the guys sanding and buffing cars." So I went and started working there. And then I studied it. I worked and I got good at it. And from there, we used to wash the cars. We did work for like Avis Rent a Car and Dollar Rent a Car, Hertz Rent a Car. The body shop did, and then also insurance jobs and stuff like that. And then when I got done with the work at the shop, I would start. I would wash some of the people's cars that worked there. We had the mechanics on site too, and then their friends wanted the car washes and stuff. So then I started making side money.
Yeah.
So then that felt good. I'll kick something back to the shop to my dad and my uncle. I started buying my own chemicals, so I won't use their stuff, and then I started building like a clientele base from there.
Yeah.
And they were trying to sell the property because they owned the property they were at, so they had no ambitions of like growing the business like that. So I was just doing my own thing there on site. They let me. Then when they sold it in 2009, that's when I went on my own. So it's been for a minute.
Okay.
You know.
And wow.
Yeah, so like around that time, as I started working with Orlando Classic Cars, because they were like right across the street, and they've been like what's been keeping me afloat, keeping me busy and stuff, allowing me to work out of their shop too, and so they've been good to me.
What would you say your specialty is within detailing?
Wet sanding,
Wet
paint
sanding?
correction. Yeah, 'cause that's what I started out doing pretty much at the shop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you go a little bit more into like wet sanding, like
What it is?
Yeah, what is that?
Well, at the shop, at my dad's body shop, my position was to like flatten out the paint, after it gets painted, because your car's paint when it comes out, you buy the car from from the dealership or whatever the manufacturer. It comes out, they got machines pretty much painting that, and they got a controlled environment, so paint goes on evenly, and there's no dust particles, no nothing in the air that can fall on the clear coat, after it gets painted. So it's pretty much good. But when you get your car done at a body shop, they don't have that controlled environment. And it's a person doing this, so there's fault that can happen. There's errors that can happen, runs in the paint, or specks of dust can fall in the paint trash. What you call it. You get fish eyes in the paint and stuff like that. The orange peel is what it's called when the texture is not like flat. It looks very textury. They call it the orange peel, just like an orange.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And so I would flatten it out with sandpaper. Wet sanding it with like 1200. Depending how hard the clear coat is and how rough it is, 1500. And back then I was just leaving it with 15 or 2000, and then buffing it out with a wool pad and a high speed rotary buffer, and with compound. So compound is the first step, which is pretty much removing those fine scratches that you're putting in with the sandpaper, and flattening that out, and then you come with the polish and um, bring out the depth in the color, removing any swirl marks that you might have, put in with the buff or anything like that, and then a layer of protection, which would be your carnauba wax or whatever, or synthetic sealant, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I was doing at the shop. That's how I got into
Professional.
it. Yeah, So then I got into working with Orlando Classic Cars, and they sell antique cars. So then they had older cars with single stage paint, and I learned how to work with that, which is no clear coat. Everything is all in that one paint. That's why they call it single stage, because the shine, everything is in the one stage, in the one step. Because if modern cars is like newer cars, they got clear coat, so it's base coat, clear coat. It's 2 stages. So your first hand is the color, which is the base coat, and then the clear coat goes on after. But the older cars, they didn't have that. It was urethane paint, enamel paint, acrylic paint, and it was all single stage, and even lacquer paint, depending on the eras in the car industry. They had different, they came out with different technologies, different paint for it. And like the base coat, clear coat came out pretty much late 80s, I think. 80s, 90s, like around that era, And that's when the 2-step paint system came out, which is the base coat, clear coat. But back then it was just 1 step. You spray everything just on, bam, and that's it. So then I got to work with the single stage paint through them. And then when you buff it, you can see the color come off, and it'll be on the pad. So on base coat, clear coat, only thing you're gonna see on the pad is just the compound. But when you're doing single stage, you see the color coming off. People get scared, like, oh, you're rubbing the color off. Well, duh, because you're flattening it out. You're removing layers of the paint. Because it's kind of porous. It's not like clear coat. Clear coat is tougher, so that you don't penetrate it. You kind of you kind of flatten it out a little bit, whatever, but you don't pull. It doesn't. There's no color to it, So on single stage, you're kind of flattening it out completely, really, with the buffer. You're removing layers of paint, so you gotta be careful. But there's more depth to it. I feel sometimes you can get more clarity, like more depth to the paint with single stage, and it got like a different type of shine. Yeah, sound is a lot of shit too.
Yeah, I mean, you got the knowledge for it, though. Like, yeah, you well knowledge when it comes to that. What does success actually looks like for you? Everybody has their own perspective of success.
I don't know, bro. That's
Take your time. You got time.
Success is it's what you wanted to be. Success for me is kind of where I'm at now, just being comfortable with who I am, moving around the world like that, and being able to help others and being in a good spot with my friends and family. Making sure everybody else is all right. And being able to sustain myself financially. I'm not really for the glitz and glam. You know what I mean? I don't really care for none of that, but I, do like having the financial freedom, to do what I want to do. But part of that is also just being confident that things gonna be all right. Keeping your faith strong and your head on, right, and knowing that everything's gonna work out. As long as you stay, true to you and keep your conscience clear and everything aligned, and all that, things will pretty much fall in line for you. You just gotta stay true, So success is that, just when you're able to just be who you are, I guess.
Good answer. I mean, it's a good answer. I mean, everybody has their own perspective. Some people is like, okay, money. Some people is like you said, freedom. Now I have to work a 9 to 5, or like just being able to at least make some type of decision.
Yeah, be in a position also for me, like, to be able to help others. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Where it's not where it doesn't affect you too much.
Being able to give back. I mean, you don't have to be super rich to give back. So
it's just with your time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As long as you're good, everybody else can be good. Yeah. So that's it. You gotta help yourself first before you help others too.
Yeah.
You know, so you gotta make sure you're right because you can't be drowning and trying to save somebody
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel you on that. Okay, what do you do when you feel overwhelmed or unsure?
I kind of step back from everything. Go for a walk at the park. You know, I love going to Lake Yoda. I don't know why. It's just that's my favorite place to go. Some people think some people think I got a friend that be teasing me. She be like, "Yo, I know you live at Lake Yola." I'm like, "Yo, I don't live there." Yeah, you're a troll. You live under the bridge. It's like, all right, cool. Yeah, I live at Lake Yola. She's like, I gotta see your house because I don't believe you always there. And it's funny because one time she called me out the blue, and she's like, "Where are you?" I was like, "I don't even want to say."
Hey, don't tell me.
He's like, "I'm having pizza at Lake Yola."
Well, I'm already there.
It is crazy. So yeah, I like going there. You know, just sitting there reflecting, just thinking, put on some music. You know what I mean? I'm always listening to music. You know, and just trying to um, find my baseline inside internally. You know, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, like just find my level. You know, and then I'm able to put things in order. You know, put things in place where it needs to go. You know, I like going to the gym. That makes me feel good. Working out helps release happy chemicals. I don't forget which ones it is in your brain. You know,
I always forget that the name or something like that.
Serotonin, oxytocin, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it feels good moving your body. Just finding a just peaceful spot like at the lake to reflect. Now I got my dog, so I spend time with him. I go with him to the park. Play with him. He brings joy. He's always happy, always wanting to play. You know what I mean? Like, which after this, I'm gonna go pick him up and go to my spot, like Yola.
Clock it in. About to clock in.
Yeah, I go out there. He's cool. He makes friends out there. I got some homeless friends I make, and I make sure they're all right. You want a cup of coffee or whatever, something to drink. I go buy them something at Publix, which is right there, or some coffee at Foxtail.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Just chill. Give out flowers to people. You know what I mean? Like sunflowers and shit. Like try to just make sure everybody cool. You know what I mean?
We're gonna start calling you Flower Man.
There's people call me Flower Man. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's what I do.
And that's a good spirit to have, man. Sorry. Oh boy.
Yeah, man. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. What's the most challenging thing you have created or built, and why?
Damn,
It's kind of like
I haven't really created anything like that. Like, well, I mean, it doesn't have to be a thing. You know what I mean? It could be a mindset or a mentality or whatever. Well, there's a few. Let me see. Oh, excuse me. Let me see. One thing like where I really is changing my mindset, my mentality towards people, towards a certain individuals like in my life who like have brought discomfort and pain just because of misinterpretations and stuff like that of me or whatever, and me giving too much energy towards that relationship and stuff like that, and then changing my mentality and the way I look at things, and just putting that into its place. And that's something that's really been holding me back or just bringing me down, just because it's brought a lot of discomfort and pain in my life, and being able to overcome that is just creating that mentality or mindset to just put that where it needs to be and be able to move forward in my life and not let that affect me anymore. That's one thing I feel like I've been able to overcome, and putting things in its place from the past that don't let I don't allow it to not a slave to anymore. You know, that discomfort or that pain. Um, you know, the poetry that I do, like the poem "Little Boy Blue." That's when I first performed it. I kind of blacked out doing it, and I even teared up doing it, like because it was like I finally felt like I broke through and became who I wanted to be. You know, um, like getting my voice out there, and I don't know. I guess that's creating just where I'm at right now. You know, in life, I feel good about that. You know, being able to reach this point. You know, yeah, because I've overcame a lot of things. You know what I mean? Yeah, that I had to work through. So yeah, I feel good. That creating the life that I created right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's pretty much. Yeah.
It's good. I like the answer.
I don't know. Yeah.
No, there's no wrong or right answer, right? Yeah, I feel that.
Um,
But like you're making progress, but also actually achieving them in the same time.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a continuous battle. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah. You're never done. You know, life continues life, and so yeah.
Continue your life. You don't let life you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we ain't perfect. There's
Live
things I
life.
need.
Don't let life like you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's still a lot I can improve on. You know what I mean? Relationships and things like that. But I feel pretty good right now where I'm at
Okay.
with all that, with the life I created. You know? Yeah.
Okay. What advice would you give someone that's one step behind you? It's like they're trying to get to. If somebody was to look at your, I won't say your life, but if somebody was to look at the way you are and the stuff that you're doing, and they want to be like you. Everybody has
Yeah.
a forward
Yeah. I would
back.
say,
So
like, block out all the distractions from outside, from society and everything. You know what I mean?
hmm,
Um, you know, get rid of the people who are negative in your life. Or don't get rid, you don't gotta get rid of them completely, but just step back from things and from certain people and um, learn to stand on your own 2 feet and be confident in who you are and just speak, kindly to yourself and, you know, lift yourself up too. Just know that you're capable of a lot of things and you're not held down to just certain limitations or anything. You can do anything, you can achieve anything. But you just gotta, tell yourself that and believe that in yourself, because you might see somebody that be like, oh, they're so great, they're so this, but hey, you can achieve that too.
yeah,
You don't have to put them on a pedestal. They're
yeah, for
they're
sure.
human just like you.
Hmm.
So block all distractions and stop looking at other people for validation.
Yeah,
And thinking that this person's better than you or anything like that. Like I said, they're human just like you.
yeah,
Only difference is that you look up to them. You gotta stop. You can look up to people,
yeah.
but don't.
Inspired.
Yeah, you get inspired,
Yeah,
but don't put them so high up
for
because they're
sure.
still human. They have negative things. They could have.
Yeah,
You don't know who they are. You don't know what they do behind closed doors. You don't know none of that. You know. You can go by what the examples they show you, but you don't hold them person in such a high regard. You know what I mean? Because you can find out something about them that you're not gonna like tomorrow. You know what I mean? And if you put that much value on that individual, then then you're not gonna know where to go after that because you know what I mean. Like,
yeah.
so you gotta just you know find that value in yourself.
Can't worship humans.
Yeah, you know what I mean. There's a lot of people that be worshiping people. You don't even know who they are. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? And just try to, understand who you are and what drives you, and find the beauty in life. Life is beautiful, everything, and yeah, be humble in that sense, you know. I don't know, like, yeah. Yeah, 'cause I mean, everybody, like, I used to do that, like, really look up to people, like, really try to, mimic, certain people in my life when I was younger.
Yeah.
I was, impressionable, like, also, like, people can just tell, like, I didn't really have my own, like,
Voice.
yeah, so, like, I would believe, I would go by what somebody else said, like, somebody that in my life that I, like, really held up there,
Yeah.
and then I had to step back and look at this individual, too. It's like, yo, they got faults also.
Yeah.
And you're defending them for this, defending this, but then, they are wrong in that, you know what I mean? So you gotta, you will put yourself in certain circumstances and in positions that's detrimental in your life defending this person, but instead of questioning their actions, you know what I mean? But you would defend them, over anything else instead of just putting them in check, you know? So then that's when you gotta start standing on your own, because then certain people will put you in a position, and then you have to deal with those, those consequences or repercussions, and you know what I mean. So you can't be always putting your neck out for people like that. You know what I mean? So unless you know who they truly are and whatever. So that's why you just gotta believe in yourself. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, and just have good people around you. You know what I mean? They aren't gonna put you in a bad position. You know? Yeah. So, but you gotta know yourself first before you do that. You know, and where you want to be in life.
What almost made you quit?
Hmm. Hmm. Like betrayal and not having the people in your life support you that are important or even have your back, you know? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's when, I had to just do my own thing and not really let what other people say. Because other people doubt you or tell you not to do this, and they're coming from their own, they're projecting a lot, they project themselves onto you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you just gotta learn to separate that, you know. Get that love that they give you, but know, that they still love you, but, sometimes they come from a place of fear, you know, and you gotta look at their life and where they're at and see what limitations they had, and it could be from their own upbringing and their own insecurities that they had, and they're just projecting a lot of stuff onto you. A lot of times they don't believe things can be achieved because they also hold these people in these high regards and all this stuff, and it could just be from where they came from, and what they were taught their whole life growing up. You know what I mean? So you gotta kind of just have that strong mind to just keep going. Just believe in yourself. You know, and then yeah, and then the people that you also helped along the line, and then they don't reciprocate like the same consideration for you in their movements and stuff like that. So then that's kind of like that. But you know, just let them go and just keep moving. Yeah, put them in their place and just keep on moving in life. I don't know.
Get the orange.
Yeah, we just left the gym, so I just left the gym, so I'm kind of hungry right now. So, but yeah, like that's what made me almost give up on life. It's just that, because I I'm a good heart and I try to look out for other people, but then I let myself get like in a bad position,
Yeah.
trying to help others, and then they don't reciprocate that. They don't see what you're doing, and they just like to take. So when you're a giver, you gotta watch out with people who just take.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And know when to stop giving. And it's kind of hard because you kind of love these people and stuff like that. But
You gotta protect yourself sometimes.
yeah, you gotta protect yourself. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Just reading that. I guess I went through almost the same thing.
Yeah.
So you gotta learn. That's all it
Yeah.
is. That's all life is.
Yeah, and you see how you meet certain people and then they're so willing to help. And then you think back and like, man, I had these people in my life who I asked for the same thing and they still ain't come through with it. I just met this dude the other day and he's already sending me shit like looking out for me and all this stuff. Damn, and I got somebody in my life that I asked for the same thing and they ain't come through. They just like, okay, yeah, let me see what I got. Let me see. And then it's like, bro, I see you every other day, like, and then it's like, I ain't gonna be chasing you over it. I can see. So then somebody else comes in your life and they just come through like that with it. It's like, damn, all right, cool. It don't make you give up, but it just makes you put those people, let you see what that relationship is, or any animosity they might have or whatever on their end. Helps you see it. It kind of clears your lens, so you can see the relationship for what it really is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you think like been through that kind of like?
Yeah, I mean, I've been there, done that. But for me, it's like my thing is since I was little, I always have like a small circle. But I try picking people that's gonna be a good spirit.
Yeah.
Like I choose my people wisely.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think probably every 6 years I bring somebody new within my circle.
Yeah.
So there's people like especially when you're a good-hearted person, they're gonna try to use you. So you just gotta look out for people. I'm not gonna say you don't trust anybody or this and that, but it's kind of taking your time to feel the energy because I have this thing like I could see people energy.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's really important for me to meet somebody and vibe on that same frequency. So
Yeah.
that's how I go based off.
No, I feel you. Yeah. But it's you think, there's sometimes you think because people been in your life, been in your life for so long.
Mm.
I don't know. That's the way I was gonna put it. Sometimes they're with you, but they ain't really with you. You know what I mean? And all because they've been there your whole life don't mean they've really been there.
Yeah.
Also, then you kind of realize that, dang, this person ain't really been there like that for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just because you've always looked out and stuff like that, but then certain situations make you look back at the relationship and through the years, and you be like, damn, okay, this person really has been that way. I just been blinded because of my loyalty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we family.
Love will blind you.
Yeah, because we're family, you think they're really gonna have that same consideration for you. Then when you speak up against something, then it becomes a whole issue. You know what I mean? And it's a whole thing. It's like, bro, I'm just asking for some reciprocation. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and you can't acknowledge that. Damn, that's when that shit hurts. Like, it's like, all right, cool, bro. Like, it's all good. You know what I mean? It's not as easy as that, to just say cool. Sometimes you be like, yo, fuck you, you don't listen. And then you get to your moments, you know what I mean, where you want to take, bring shit down and destroy shit, but then it's like, all right, like, where's that going to lead to? You know what I mean? You just got to learn to just let things go. That's my father would tell me that, God will handle it, you know what I mean? say, all right, cool, just leave it alone. You know, karma's a bitch. You know, she's real. She's a bitch too. You know what I mean? So
For sure. I believe in karma
yeah,
a lot.
you're gonna reap what you sow. You know what I mean? Like you keep moving that way, it's gonna come back to you. You know what I mean? If you fucking people over and just doing
Same
things
energy
like
you put out there, same energy
Mhm.
come back.
that. You can't change people. They are who they are. You know. So it's like learning that part right there. You know, to accept people for who they are. Once they show you who they are, accept it.
Yeah.
You know, you can't change them. If it's not in them to really be considerate or to consider your feelings or consider things, and you can't really make them see that. You know what I mean? That's not who they are. That's not how they move.
Yeah.
Because you can see how they treat, how they deal with other people. You know what I mean? And you see how they talk about other people. You see they always gossiping about other people. They gossip about you too, bro. Like somebody that will be talking about somebody, they be talking. I'm sure they talking about you also at the same time when you ain't around. So it's like, you pay attention to shit like that,
Yeah. You're not exclusive.
right? Like, bro,
Everybody getting it.
for
Yeah,
real.
shit. That's funny. Heck no.
Yeah, this is a good mandarin or tangerine. I don't know.
Yeah, I can tell.
But some of them don't be coming out good. This one's at
Yeah,
least sweet.
some of them be like wrinkly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like show them. Show them.
Hey, I'm more than halfway through. It's decent. I be buying some and they just be bland, you know.
Yeah, hard too. Like what the heck?
So I'm enjoying it.
It's kind of almost the same, but in a way. What do you want to carry forward, and what can you leave behind?
Mm, mm. Carry forward. Damn, I don't know. Well, not let just still moving like love and things like that, and being open. I don't want to let situations from the past make me bitter. So carry forward that sense of still striving for what I want to accomplish, and not let those things in the past hold me down.
Mm.
You know, just like you said, keeping your circle tight, but I also want to have love and be able to meet,
Mhm.
and accept anybody, but not bring everybody in like that. You gotta have your boundaries and stuff like that. But still move in love and treat people with respect always. You know what I mean? And just always try to do good and just be right. Righteous. Not right, but righteous. You know what I mean? And like moving like that and leave behind also expectations of people. You know, I don't know. Sometimes you gotta take people for who they are, and you can't have too much expectation because that's what causes you to get hurt, I guess. Because you expect people to be a certain way,
Mm.
but you won't know them until you actually trying those people out for a good while,
Yeah.
and you see that their actions actually match their words. You know what I mean? All that has to fall in line for you before you can actually trust that person. So, yeah.
Everything you feel is
Yeah, I
coming
want
from
to
the
leave
heart.
behind the negativity,
Yeah.
and all that. And,
Like maybe you just being careful who you select within your circle.
yeah.
That's pretty much just how I move. Like even I say small circle. Like I a lot of people know me, but I don't know a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I always say that. And my circle, like most of the people that I know right now are people that since I was like childhood. And like I say probably like every 5-6 years I will run into somebody that's vibing that same frequency because I could feel it. I know the type of energy I bring and the type of energy I want around me. So when I meet that type of person, it's like you. It's like this is you and this is the other person. Like you can feel it once you connect together, it hits each other, and it's like you're aligned together.
Yeah.
So I look for those type of people. So when I meet those type of people, it's easy. Like you know how some people say it's so easy for guys to become friends. This and that. That's the same concept when it comes to energy.
Yeah, because you can just vibe with the person, and you can feel it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I know what you mean. Cause you just be vibing with somebody.
And it doesn't really take much for you to like. You just have like a small conversation. Like you kind of already know each other.
I'm like, but yo, I feel like I know this dude forever. You know what I mean?
You vibe on the same level. So mentality, everything, spiritual, everything.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of that.
Yeah, and you just gotta, yeah, I feel that. Yeah, things shouldn't be difficult. You know, once you start getting into like, yo, we just met. Why we having an issue? Like, you know what I mean? It's all good, bro. Like, you stay over there, I'm gonna stay here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so relationships shouldn't be hard. Like, things should be, you know, it's just
natural,
be fluid. You know, be fluid. You know what I mean? You can get over anything because it's, you know what I mean? So it's like once it becomes like, yeah, you gotta try too hard, and all right, maybe this isn't right. You know what I mean? Just go our separate ways. Shit, that comes, you know, with females and shit too. Like, bro, like, if they giving you a hard time, like, hey, bro, you know what I mean? Don't even deal with that woman. If a woman want to be with you, she gonna be with you. She gonna, you know what I mean? If you already see she's giving you a hard time in the beginning, yo, don't even deal with that, bro, because with a woman like you, she like you. You know, you gonna know it's gonna be easy for you to be, you know, to communicate and everything. She's gonna be welcoming. No, she already trying to put, you know, make you go through all these tests and all this shit, making it hard for you. Like, bro, don't even bother. You know what I mean? All she wants is the attention. She just wants validation. You know what I mean? You're gonna just be the sucker that's gonna be giving it to her. You know what I mean?
Cut it out. Cut it. What's that song? Cut it. What's that song?
Yeah.
Cut it. Cut it.
Yeah, that was from Buddy from Memphis.
You need to cut it.
Isn't it? What's his name?
I forgot his name. Dang, what's his name?
Is
OG.
he?
I think it's an OG something.
I don't know. I might be
OG Genesis.
who it is.
I think something like that.
I might be confused.
You need to cut it. Where can people support you or find?
So my Instagram is henry.aka.gun, and that's my Instagram. And gun stands for genuine universal knowledge. You know, it's got different acronyms. So my Instagram bio, it says it: genuine universal knowledge while growing up naturally and staying aligned with God, the universe, and nature. So that's what gun is. And well, gun, you know, that was my name. Like me and my cousins had a crew back in the days called CBD, and we all had our little names. And my name was Gunshot, and it was Gun for short. They would just call me Gun. So I would tag my shit everywhere, you know, Gunshot in high school and shit. You know, even I go out, me and my cousin will go out at night and tag, you know, I don't know if y'all know what tag is. That's graffiti. You know what I mean? When you tag your name and shit. So I would tag a Gunshot, lyrical bullet. You know what I mean? Like, you talking about rhyming and shit. I was just trying to write rhymes like Gunshot, the lyrical bullet. You know what I mean? And then, you know, and then whatever. So then, like, yeah, so it's henry.aka.gun. And then that's my personal, that's my, you know, poetry, whatever, everything on there. And then my business one is Full Auto Detail. That's my detail company, and that's full.auto.detail. Man, it's the same shit. Like, yo, dot, you know what I mean? Got my shit. So yeah,
like a little pause with your name.
Yeah.
Dot.
So yeah, those are my two accounts. You know what I mean? You can see me polishing up some old schools and things like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's what's up.
Okay.
Yeah.
For your auto detailing business, do you have a phone number they could call?
Yeah, that's my cell. 407-446-3684.
All right, Henry Gunn. Would you like to perform one of your art piece for them?
Yeah, I guess Little Boy Blue, so that's the one I mentioned, right?
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's pretty much like the one that explains my name, you know, henry.aka.gun. You know, how I kind of flipped the script on that. Like I said, Gun in my life, that name kind of took on a different persona. You know, when I got the name, it was from my cousins. You know, the crew we had, CBD, and it was just you know, it was just a crew that we formed just to represent us and you know what we were about. We were just you know we liked hip hop, and you know we had different days for our crew. You know, we had to do things which is like we either rhymed or you know dressed in something nice or um, do some art, you know, draw whatever, or try to get a girl's number, you know, anything just to improve on ourselves, you know. And then you know that kind of phased away, but then I still kept the name, and then that name became something else for me, you know, persona. Like, and I started doing shit in the street or whatever. And this poem is just me going through my life, and kind of then at the end flipping the script on my name and getting a different meaning for it, you know. So yeah, that's what Little Boy Blue represents. So I guess I'll start kicking it right now, you know. All right. Little boy blue with my heart so true. Used to being misunderstood, but like all things under the sun, that ain't nothing new. So my attitude has always been, it's all good in the face of their delusions. But my innocence they was abusing when confusing, my resistance to the intrusions as a behavior I was choosing. But nobody was realizing that my innocence I was also losing to the battles against my demons occupying space next to the broomsticks. Through the years, my closet's gotten cozy unless people know me. I mean, they still in my life, but they don't know the new me. What weighs on my mind, the pain I have inside. Gotta get it up out of me and on the outside. But don't want to hurt nobody, that ain't what I'm about. Just want to talk my shit, ain't searching for no clout. Reminiscing on them days my emotions was in a drought. From an early age, used to romanticize of ending my days, but couldn't go out that way, going against the grain, betraying the blood that pumps through my veins, carrying my ancestors' DNA. Granddad was a rolling stone, yeah, I'm talking bad to the bone. Feared across the land, but another woman was jealous and one shot blam to the dome, taken out by his own chrome, where he laid his hat became his home. His last few visits to my grandma's place, hanging his revolver off my father's waist at the age of 8, are the last few memories he has left in his place. Now imagine my father's face after his only son reveals his life been close to succumbing to the same fate. Outside on the ground, flipping dimes, ducking one time, a group of flunkies trying to make me come off mine. Staring down the barrel of a gun, pull some Jackie Chan shit. Now the late hour turn to rush hour, the chase is on, enemy got me on the run. Drew it back on him, froze him in his tracks. Both our lives were saved because of safety on that gun. I made my great escape, and then my days were followed by me ducking in passenger seats to make sure I don't get followed. Accompanied by nights of terror and sorrow, caused by nightmarish visions of cursed tomorrows. Something changes within you on the inside when plenty of times you get close to that other side where your spirit's floating next to where your body resides. Causes you to see through the fabric of reality and get a raw view of what's really happening. Take a deep dive and get rid of that static G. Face your fears and chase down your demons, cause life's full of love. Get rid of those blinders and you'll see. Get tuned in and tap into that frequency, but never. Damn, what is it? Damn, okay. Tap into that frequency, but never forget and practice forgiveness. Because for every action, there's a reaction. That's just basic laws of physics. And as long as you got health, you got wealth. I'm talking mental, physical, and understanding yourself. So in the meantime, I'm going to just keep getting mine while flowing through the ether on clouds of reefer with the mind of a spiritual teacher and the soul of a warrior fueled by miracle scriptures. Because damn, life is great and few can relate when you can see the patterns take place, even down to where you got your namesake. Childhood name carries symbolism, whole life now see how it relates. But I gotta change its meaning from street scheming to real teaching. Gun, G-U-N, genuine universal knowledge is what I'm preaching. Cause this little boy blue is now a fucking man with a heart of gold who's gonna let it shine through. Alright, that's little boy blue. Even though I stumbled a little bit, but still keep it true. You know what I mean?
That shit right, that's right.
So, alright.
Freestyle.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, my name is Free Minded the Cypher. This is Henry,
aka Gun.
aka Guns.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in. FM Cypher podcast. Please come back next time.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, bro. Easy.